This is ancient swordplay. Cut 'em down for a new age. Ahead of time, judging wisely like an old sage. Watching the world go crazy at every second while they watching every step that I take like they got a foot fetish. Where here's a roundhouse kick, harder than solid brick. Gymnastic kind of rider, finesse when I flip the script. Yes, sir, you will get nothing lesser. Lecture in my lab coat, a lyrical professor. Do the science, do the math, then apply it, recite it like Malcolm X. I can start or stop a riot. A civilized savage who wreaks on beats havoc. Ghetto like a pot of them neck bones and cabbage. Trying to transcend the eternal sins of fools by wearing a crown decked out with rare gems and jewels. Now I'm watchful of her who will preside at my side. Streets was my bottom bitch, but wisdom is my bride. Didn't know I can do that. You didn't know that, but I had to show you anyway, you know what I'm saying? Because we are talking about some lyrics in this live stream. So Achad, holography author, whole writing of the arts and sciences as one educational discipline. Take advantage. Stop letting them lead you astray, have you broken in pieces and shattered in the mind. Bring it all together. You know what I'm saying? This is what you want. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going to really, you know what I'm saying, bring things into one fold for you. You know what I mean? Don't be letting people out here leave you in a broken state. You know what I mean? In a fragmented mind state, a fragmentality. You don't need that. Bring it a whole. Holographer.com/the-book. But yes, we're getting it in today. We're going to talk about something that's I didn't get a chance to speak about, because obviously if you're looking at a book like this, the imagery is, you know, you're looking at two record or turntables, you know what I'm saying? And I do have an animatic that I use to promote my book where this tau turntable, you know what I'm saying, is turning. You know what I mean? And that's important because this book is also kind of inspired, you know, obviously by, you know, Wu Tang Clan, that type of music, you know what I mean? Dealing with records, especially dealing with RZA. You know, he has a book. The book is over there. I don't feel like getting up. The Tao or the Tao of the Wu. It's a good book to read. You know what I'm saying? So it was an inspiration for my book. But yeah, we talking about the science of the liquid sword, true masters of ceremony. So I'm pretty sure people that's listening to me or watching me on, you know, YouTube or whatever, I'm pretty sure that, you're into hip hop, rap, you know what I'm saying, rappers, you know what I'm saying, hippity hippity hip hop hop, nigga skip bebop, but you know what I'm saying, you're into it. You got your favorite songs, you got your favorite hip hop artists, you know what I'm saying, dead or top 5 dead or alive, you know what I'm saying. I just did a whole live stream dealing with Jadakiss, you know what I'm saying, the Jadakiss chamber, where one of his albums was top 5 dead or alive. So what I want to speak about is the science of the liquid sword. And for those of you that are familiar with the slang, the Wu Tang slang that they use, liquid sword refers to your mouth, it's your tongue. And Jizza of the Wu Tang Clan, I think he's the oldest member of the Wu Tang, and he's the one who I think got his record deal first when he was with Cold Chillin'. Um, I heard him talk about this once in an interview where the whole thing about the Wu Tang is that everybody in the clan is lyrically sharp. So they talking about their tongue because it's a liquid sword. It's in your mouth, saliva liquid, and then your sword is your tongue and how you speak and how you rap and how you rhyme. You know what I'm saying? It's your liquid sword. So you know that Jizza or the genius, he has a whole album, you know what I'm saying, Liquid Swords, and then he came out with a sequel called The Legend of the Liquid Swords. So liquid swords is a very important concept when it comes to MCing or rapping or doing your thing on the mic or whatever you're doing, you know what I'm saying? So if you have a liquid sword, you have a duty to keep your liquid sword sharp. You know what I mean? You don't have a dull sword when it comes to rapping or MCing. You know what I mean? And I always stuck to that principle. When I started listening to, getting heavily into Wu Tang's music, like some years ago. You know what I mean? So what I'm talking about today is what you say and the importance of the things you utter, because there is this general idea that you create as you speak, like the whole abracadabra, which is, is really abracadabra. It's supposed to be pronounced with a V instead of a B. And that's something you learn, dealing with the Hebrew language, which I'm kind of studying now. Abracadabra, I create as I speak. But there are understandings that what if you are not necessarily creating as you speak, but you're confirming as you speak? Because the idea that I'm trying to get to you today is you already spoke it, or for example, you already wrote it. The script of your life is already written. And then the things that you say throughout your life, you're just confirming what you've already written down. It's like, you already wrote the lyrics to the song you about to lay or the track you about to spit on. And then you go into the booth and then you read, what I'm saying, what you wrote. So it's just confirming what you already wrote. So we take that from, or, deal with that on an abstract level. We're talking about if your life is already written, it was written, right? Going to the whole Nas. This is going to be a whole hip hop rap type of video, just going forward. And Nas has an album, it was written, you know what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with these concepts today. Like what are the ancient abstracts of this? Like how far back does this stuff go? Like is this, hip hop thing new? You know what I'm saying? Because what is an MC? Because that's another name for a hip hop rapper. You know what I'm saying? MC. Some of younger generation don't really use that term and don't understand what that meant. So a master of ceremony is something that goes all the way back to, so-called mystery systems of, ancient times where you as the master of the entire, like, for those of you that know about ceremonial magic, if you're into the whole Western occultism thing, especially, about ceremonial magic where, it's you and maybe like a few other people and y'all are in a magical seance where you're trying to, pull or evoke spirits and have the spirits do your bidding by, calling out to them and doing things in that whole group activity, right? So, as an MC or master of ceremonies, you were the one who directed the entire ceremony based on what you were saying, how you were moving, what I'm saying, what you're doing in the actual ritual. So, we also talk about ritual when we're talking about master of ceremony. Now, years or centuries later or millennia later, you got this whole thing called hip hop where you have, one or more people on stage with a microphone. This is a microphone, and they're directing the entire crowd based on what they're saying and what they're, getting people in the crowd to do on some crowd participation shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what be an MC. So this is going beyond just someone who just raps or just puts words together to rhyme. No, you're dealing with someone who knows how to control the crowd. MC means move the crowd. So that becomes the magic of your words, that you are able to utter and recite these things in the ways that you utter and recite them, and you're able to move people this way and that way. You're able to evoke certain emotions. You're able to get them to do things. Like, for example, if you ever been to like your average hip hop concert, like in the 90s, going into the 2000s, that was a wild thing. It's probably still is now, but I just remember watching a lot of footage from concerts, and the rapper can make, or the MC can make all these people in the crowd do all types of shit just by, the music in the background and him rapping or her rapping what she's rapping or what he's rapping. So that's not anything new. That's what I'm trying to say. Your words can move people. I'm probably moving you right now. What if I can move you to do something? That's a spiritual power that you got, that you can move somebody to do something based on you saying something. So, for example, if you was in the military and y'all about to, do your thing in the military on the field, you can say things to get the soldiers or the people in your platoon or legion or whatever you want to call it to go out there and kill the enemy because of what you're saying, how you're saying it, not just what you're saying, but the cadence and the way in which you're saying it. And this all, going back to hip hop, you have rappers who didn't have much of a large, extensive vocabulary, but because of the way that they were saying it, the way that they're saying the words gave them a prominent place in hip hop. Like, for example, you talk about somebody like Notorious B.I.G. Like a lot of rappers will notice that, Especially if you a real technical, lyrical type of rapper, you would notice that Big doesn't use, or Biggie Smalls didn't use like a lot of big words in his vocabulary and his rapping. However, the way he rapped or the way he spoke it is what moved people, is what got him on, top 5 dead or alive lists, dealing with hip hop. But again, this is an ancient concept of you being able to move spirits based on what you're saying. Get spirits to do what you want them to do based on how you're talking, how you're actually speaking. And not even just how you're speaking and talking, how you're actually moving. So now dance also comes into this, or the way that you're moving your body. This is all ways that you can actually move spirits to do your will. Instead of just, trying to do some, stationary ritual at your altar. For those of you that do that, we're actually talking about those who get up and move. So I don't know if you ever seen or visited any type of like voodoo or Ifa ceremony where everybody's moving. Also, if you go to the church, if you're a Christian, you can see that shouting is a way that these people were able to evoke spirits, and that's what they're doing. They think they're trying to evoke Jesus, but what they're actually doing is making themselves prime for spirits to come through and do their thing. It's like they call it riding you, or what I'm saying, a spirit is riding you on the back or riding you on in some way. That's what you're doing. So the whole thing, for example, like glossolalia, which is speaking in tongues, you know what I'm saying? What spirit do you know is having you speak in tongues? You're just opening yourself up for this spirit to then just speak through you. You know what I'm saying? So you have a bunch of people in a church congregation doing the gospel thing, but they don't know that they're being possessed by spirits in the whole time, which is ironic because they're always against occultists or people that deal and dabble with things that are outside of the Christian boundary or Christian parameter, and saying that it's evil. But it's like you're in the church doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a high energy, high intensity. You're opening yourself up to be controlled. That's all spirituality. That's all possession right there. They don't want to see it that way, but that's exactly what's going on. And you probably notice, having been a part of such a ritual before. Like I'm pretty sure some of y'all been to church where y'all was in spirit. Y'all was, what I'm saying? Somebody was on the organs, y'all was playing the music, and you had the pastor and the choir singing. Y'all was doing a mass ritual. You know what I'm saying? It's just that your ritual in your church is not a cult. It's out in the open. It's mundane. It's for any old human to come in there and participate. You know what I'm saying? As long as he accept Jesus in his heart. But that's ritual. You're doing something where you're what I'm saying, as a pastor or a reverend or whoever's got the mic on the mega church or on stage, you're controlling the crowd with that. So being an MC makes you a great magician, if you haven't noticed already. So being able to get up and move and speak things through your mouth and what I'm saying, say things, is your ability to also move spirits this way and move them that way. That's what a magician does. That's what a master of ceremonies is. You're conducting the ceremony and you're controlling everything in it. So that's where the magic comes in. So imagine now if you have people that own these record companies or these record labels, and they understand that magic. They understand that science. So now they're recruiting or even grooming industry plants or rappers that, didn't really come off the streets or nothing like that. It was kind of molded and grown to be that, in order to then make music that then you can sell to people and put on the airwaves on some payola shit. Payola is when you pay or you give favors to the radio station personnel so that they can play your song more than they play other people's songs. So it's supposed to be illegal, but obviously, who's going to turn down a bribe or whatever if you're being forced to play a certain song over and over and over again throughout the week? You know what I'm saying? So if you get the type of cadence and you get the type of message that you want to put out there, and you control the radio wave, or you at least have influence over it, now you have the ability to then, once it's broadcast for people to listen to, now you can sway and control and influence those people. That's magic. That's being a master of ceremonies. Not even just with the music that you're making, but being able to um, have these stations or these broadcast centers or wherever the music is playing, making sure that they stick to what you want them to play. That's a form of magic. That's a form of control. That's a true master of ceremony. Now we're not going to get down with that because again, we're not going to sit here and listen to this, type of hip hop or music that you got out now, like this pop rap or this mumble rap or any type of these offshoots of hip hop music. You know what I'm saying? Some call it false hip hop. Some people, it's its own genre. I don't consider that hip hop or what I'm saying, the music that they put out today. I don't really call it that. You may if you want to, but it's the idea of you're able to sway and control people based on music, the things you're saying across that music. So you hear stories about people where they went on drive-bys, but before they went on a drive-by shooting, they listened to this gangster rap that got them in the spirit of wanting to shoot up their ops or their enemies. Or for example, if I'm about to go to Shorty crib, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? On Thursday, that's what Ghostface Killer said. He said, slow jam dick on Thursday. And I play a song that, you know what I'm saying, where her panties start to melt off her thighs and her hips. You know what I mean? That's magic. You know what I mean? And then, if we drinking or smoking or doing whatever we doing, and you mixing all that together, it's like, yo, you can control that whole environment. And if she's feeling it, she'll let you control it because that's what a man does. You know what I mean? But only on Thursdays for the slow jam dick. The rest of the days we doing it to, some hardcore hip hop music or whatever, or some, some dance hall. You ever had sex to dance hall music? The duddy wine that she can get into, her hips. You know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about that, but I'm trying to introduce you to it. So you and your woman friend, or you and your man's, if you're a woman, have sex to, some 90s Jamaican dance hall reggae music, and your relationship is going to go past the stars. But anyway, that's how you can control the room. That's how you can control the crowd. Even the disc jockey or the DJ is a form of a master of ceremonies because he's putting these music or songs in succession, to keep the vibe where he wants it. So, for example, if this is a party where we all supposed to be breakdancing, why would you put in some, some thug music where it's not about dancing? It's about you talking about your life, selling crack and shooting up your own people in the street. No, you want some break beats. You know what I'm saying? So you control the party or the ceremony by putting on nothing but break beats or beats where people can do that. You know what I'm saying? They pop lock and, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going with the flow. You know what I mean? That's a form of spiritual control. You know what I'm saying? I want to put you on to something you probably never seen before. If you did, you can confirm what I'm saying. Watch a documentary of Fela Kuti's documentary. What's it called? Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Fela Kuti documentary. I think is it, hold on, that's not the one, is it? I think there's two different Fela Kuti documentaries. There's one Fela Kuti Music is the Weapon, and then there's another one called Finding Fela. But I think it's the first one. Yeah, Music is the Weapon. And I think you can find that on YouTube. So definitely get that. And it's about Fela Kuti, who's, he was this politician from Nigeria who used music to push his political messages. And the documentary is about how, he faced opposition from the Nigerian government because of his government or his political stance. Like he didn't want a bipartisan government, and they were trying to push this English based, you know colonized government on the people. So I think his movement was called Movement of the People, but he was using music as a way to get people on his political side. And then, after he was doing that, the Nigerian government kind of was, trying to crack down on him. Like they was attacking him in his house. They threw his mom out the window. Like you gotta watch the documentary. But what's interesting is he shows you that he's part of the Ifa tradition. So he deals with the Shangos and the Oshuns and the Obatala and all that stuff in his music. And he uses that music again to sway his people to go up against this oppressive English based or European based Nigerian regime back then. And we're talking about the 70s, maybe. I think that's when that documentary was filmed, in the 70s. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, yeah. So that's what you definitely want to watch that. And you see how again he's mixing his spirituality with his music. You know what I'm saying? He even says in the documentary, music is the best profession. You know what I'm saying? And you see him and he got like 27 wives. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how I guess he used the music to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Could you use music to get 27 women to be your wife? You know what I'm saying? Could you do that? Because that's a true master of ceremonies right there. If you can do that, you know what I mean? That's a true master right there. See, a lot of rappers today, like they don't. No, no. I think his. Hold on. No, no, no. His Fela Kuti "Music Is the Weapon" documentary. It came out in the early '80s. I'm just trying to make sure I got my facts straight. And he was into Pan Africanism. You know what I'm saying? Like he had gone to UK. I think he had been to the US. I think I forgot who he dealt with. Did he deal with Martin Luther King and them? I don't know, but I know he had traveled a lot. You know what I'm saying? And he became Pan African, which means that he was for Black people everywhere across the earth or whatever, not just for Nigeria. But again, the point of me bringing him up is he mixed his politics, his spirituality into his music. You know what I'm saying? And he had all the 27 wives singing on the song. Now that's a true master right there. You know what I mean? Talk about polygamy, you know. But going back to what I want to talk about as far as magic is concerned, is if you're into any type of ritual ceremonies, you got to be able to control those spirits. Some of y'all not built to do that, but you think you are. You think you're on that level to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a level of mastery because you think just because you're dealing with spirits that all spirits are going to obey and do what you tell them to do. Well, first of all, you got to be on a certain level to be able to control or sway certain spirits. So, for example, you just an amateur, you ain't got no real, mastery with you. You can only sit here and deal with the lower level spirits. So, if you try to go higher than that, then it might be disastrous for you because, again, you're waking up a entity that, first of all, didn't want to be awakened, and then, secondly, you don't know how to sway it or control it or get it to do what you want it to do. So that's a weak ceremonial mastery you got. So that's one thing you want to practice if you're going to be a magician is being able to sway the strongest and the most powerful, highest ranked entities to do what you want them to do. Now, music is, again, it's a way in which a medium in which you can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's why it ain't just you saying things, it's how you saying them. It's the cadence, it's the way that you are using the rhythm of, you know what I'm saying, using certain rhythms to actually sway a spirit to do this or sway something to do that. Because it's not any different from you swaying another person. Because ain't that person a spirit in a physical body? So when I'm talking about spirits, people just think that the spirit has to be discarnate or not in a physical body. It's like, no, it's spirit in general. You know what I'm saying? Spirit in general. Because it's just like that rapper on stage or that MC. Can you control the crowd or move the crowd? As MC means move the crowd. That's what Rakim said, right? You know what I'm saying? MC means move the crowd. So if you have a crowd of spirits, what type of MC are you if you can't move them or sway them to do this and that? You know what I'm saying? There's some footage on YouTube with DMX. I mean, you've probably seen it before where, late rapper DMX, he was in Hawaii, and I think he's the only rapper on stage, the only person on stage, and he's rocking the largest fucking crowd you ever see in a concert, because they all outside, and it has to be like at least 100,000 people in the crowd, or even a little less. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's just him on the stage rocking an entire crowd of people. Just him. That man was an MC. That's what made him dangerous, because he was able to sway all these people, white people. You know what I'm saying? I want to make that clear, because it looked like it was mostly white people in the crowd, and he was able to sway them based on his rapping and the instrumental behind it. That's it, and then the dances or whatever he was doing on stage. So imagine with that power, what he can get him to do. Let's say he just starts saying, everybody drink your beer, you know what I'm saying? Or everybody stomp the dude out in the front. He can get him to do that. Everybody go to college. You know what I'm saying? He can say anything. He can get every single person in that crowd to do it, because he had that sway. He had that influence. He had that control in his music. That's what make you dangerous out here. The people that's trying to control, they don't want you having the control. And I imagine that's why he probably got sabotaged and attacked and extorted, and you know what I'm saying, by whoever. I ain't got to name them, but they saw what power he had, and they, tried to stop him. They tried to keep him off that power, over that sway over people. You know what I mean? That's what you call an MC. Now, again, DMX isn't someone, you go to for that lyrical, immortal technique type of, Nas type of rap that, this super lyrical, like Fiasco, you know what I mean? Where you think they're using a lot of big words or a lot of technical hip hop, like how, Eminem like to do and all that shit. Nah, that's not DMX was never that. However, the energy or the power behind what he's saying, how he's saying it, ow, ow, you know what I'm saying? You don't get hype when I say that. Ow, ow. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to fight now? Like if it was just me, you, and some other dude, right? And just like four other dudes just walked up. He's like, let's fight. And then I turn to y'all and say, ow, ow. You know what I'm saying? Get him. You wouldn't get hype. See, it's the words he's saying. It's the sounds. It's the words. It swayed you. It got you in a mode or a mood where you want to fight now. You know what I'm saying? I'm from a place where, because the gang that they had, they can say a key word or some word, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of gangs across America, they have their call. Like they'll say it, and then all their members will group up and get in formation like it's a Beyonce video, and then go attack the ops. That's the power of MCing. You're using words in the way that you're saying them. You're using sounds. You ain't even got to use words technically. It's just the sounds that you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Just saying like some call, some battle cry. That's what I meant to say, like a battle cry. And once you and you know what I'm saying, you and your partners hear that, or you and your people hear that, it's time to go to war. Based off of sound, based on what you're saying. That's what I'm talking about. Now, if you were able to perfect that and get that under wraps, you can use that in your magic or your spirituality to be able to evoke certain entities. But not just knowing the word, how to say the word. This is why you have all these grimoires out here where people are using them for magic, but they're not really being that much powerful. And you know what I'm saying? They're not powerful with it because they don't know how to say those words. They don't know how to chant them. For example, if I gave you a piece of paper and it had the lyrics to, like, I don't know, like a Mariah Carey song, and you never heard the song, you don't know how it's being sung. You know that these are the lyrics to the song, but you don't know how she's actually singing them until you hear her singing it. Because how she's singing it is, you know what I'm saying, you would never even guess that's how you should say the words. You know what I'm saying? So what if that sheet of lyrics is your grimoire, or your, you know what I'm saying, your magical text? How would you know how to say the words, right? So it's not even just the words, it's how you're saying them. You know what I'm saying? It's the cadences. So going back to what what I'm definitely trying to hone in on is the science of the liquid sword is the science of you being able to utter things and make things happen based on you uttering them. Or you can look at it another way, whereas you you're on a schedule. So that means like if you look at your life like a narrative, you know that at this age, if you're going to be 25 in June, right? And you know that something is going to happen instinctively, so you say it. So it's not even like you're making it happen, it's just that you're confirming it before it happens because it was already going to happen regardless. See, that's the determinism. Some people don't like to look at it that way, but it's like, the way things go and the factors that go into everything, to happen. You know what I'm saying? How can you ever sit here and say that wasn't already predetermined? You know what I mean? How could you say that? It's too precise for it not to have already been pre-scheduled and pre-written. You know what I mean? Like some people think they're using magic to sway events to their liking or whatever. And it's like how you know that your life wasn't already programmed for that to already happen like that. And again, you're just doing a confirmation through your words. So when you say I'm about to be a millionaire, that has nothing to do with you actually making yourself that. You was already going to become that. And it looks like you spoke it into existence. No, it was already going to happen. But that's the way you can look at it. Some people don't. I mean, they ain't got to look at it that way, but it's a way. Because I'm thinking about from the moment you were conceived or brought into existence. Was there a narrative that came with that? Like for example, at age 13, this is going to happen. At age 26, this is going to happen. At age 30, this is going to happen. At age 37, this is going to happen. Before you even get to those ages, before you was even born. But getting back to being able to say things, like I said, making sure your liquid sword is the sharpest one in the clan or in the world or saying anywhere. I practice to make sure that my liquid sword is sharp. You know what I'm saying? One of the ways you can do that is start doing poetry. Yeah, because poetry is the ability to put the rhythm into the word. Because all you have is dead letters until you spiritize it. You spiritize it by uttering it in a certain cadence, in a certain way, in a certain, utterance. So I give life to this dead letter. So again, going back to a sheet of lyrics, just a lyrics to any song. The lyrics are on the paper, but do you know how to spiritize the lyrics? The lyrics to, I don't know, like just name a random singer. Gerald Levert. They gave you a sheet of his lyrics to one of his songs, but you never heard the song before, right? So you probably be reciting it as if you was just you're just reading it as if it were a page in a book. But once you know the song and you know how he sung those words, and then you can sing them like if it was on some karaoke shit. Now you can make the woman's panties flutter right off of her hips. You know what I'm saying? So what you think? I mean, what you think going to get her panties off? You just reciting the lyrics on the sheet or paper, or you singing them the way Gerald Levert was singing? You know what I'm saying? Oh, Casanova. You know what I mean? You got to be able to know that because there's certain spirits that react to the way that you're saying the words. You know what I'm saying? Oh, thank you. Somebody just let me throw this up on the screen. Hold on. Thank you, Platypus Jones. What's going on? Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Certain spirits know certain cadences. They go with certain cadences. See, this is how a lot of y'all in this whole magic thing, and y'all don't know how to do that shit. So again, this is why probably your shit ain't working or it ain't as powerful, is because you don't know the actual rhythm or melody of the words you're using to evoke that entity or spirit. Yeah. So a lot of amateurs get caught up in the game. Yeah. Mhm. But also, like I said, keeping your liquid sword sharp. And for those of you just coming in, liquid sword is a metaphor for the mouth or your mouthpiece, and your tongue is that sword. So everything I'm saying is me saying, like, it's a sword, it's sword play. You know what I'm saying? Ancient sword play. The language you're talking, the cadence of the language, you know how, like, if you speak in Spanish or you speak in Hebrew or you speak in Japanese, you speak in French, they have a certain rhythm to the way in which they say their words. Just like if I'm using like a, you know what I'm saying, an accent, I'm using, it's not just me saying the words or using certain slang words, it's how I'm saying it. It's just like if I use the word bitch, you know what I'm saying? The way I speak it to you is one way in which you're going to react. So if I say, shut up, bitch, like you're going to get all offensive and you want to fight, you want to knuckle up. But if I say, go ahead, bitch, bitch, you know what I'm saying? The way that I'm saying it gets a different response. You know what I mean? Because you know the whole thing, you know, you got women that's jamming to these hip hop, hardcore hip hop songs, and you know they get bitch all women being called bitches and hoes. But it's the way you say bitches and hoes where you don't get a negative response from the women. Because then they out here saying bitch, fuck bitches. You got women saying fuck bitches, get money, fuck niggas, get. It's all how you way you say it. She don't feel offended by it. You know what I'm saying? You know, they had that whole thing in the early 90s. What's her name? Dionne Warwick and them. They went to the White House to try to stop rap music back in the early 90s and shit. They said it shouldn't be, none of the young black people should be letting that, you know, degrade their life to that misogynistic lyrics. But you had women rapping them right along with it. And they didn't necessarily have to be hood rats or nothing like that. It's like, nah, that's my jam. Fuck bitches. You know what I mean? It's how you're saying it, not necessarily what you're saying. It's how. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of is actually a bit dangerous too. Especially when you're talking about kids. It's like, you know, I remember like I was around some people and I heard, you know, this kid where she was saying, you know, that, you know, reciting the lyrics to that song. What's his name? Future. He's like Molly Percocets, like the way he rhythmatized them words, it's like you got kids listening to that. So Molly Percocets is dangerous. People die from that. But if you can spiritize it and rhythmatize it that way, you can get them to sing along with it and then be like, I want to try Molly Percocet just on the way that you were saying it. See, if some white man in a business suit said Molly and Percocets, that doesn't sound attractive. But if a rapper with dreads and you know he all iced up talking about Molly Percocet, now the kids is like, hey, I want to take Molly's and Percocets now. It's not what he said, it's how he said it. It's how he added the rhythm to it, which also goes into circles, loops, hmm? Cycle. That's why the hook or the chorus of a song is the most important thing about the song today. Because that's the hook. It's something you're saying repetitively, right? It sums up the entire song. So his first rapper, let's say you got like three rappers on a song. They may start the song with the chorus or not. It depends. But let's say they don't. So the first rapper, he get on the mic, do his thing, get off. Then they do the hook. Second rapper, do his thing, his 16 bars. Hook. They might put a bridge onto it, which is like extension of a hook. Then the third rapper does his thing, and then the hook comes, and then they add more instrumentation and they put more emphasis on that hook because it's that loop. It's that loop. So with a loop, what can you do with a loop? What can you do with a cycle? What can you do with a circle? You can entrap things within a circle. So you, like I said, if you go to like a grimoire like the Goetia or the, the Lesser Key of Solomon, and you see that these goetic demons, you know what I'm saying, are encased in that circle, you know, that it's giving you the symbolism of how to trap the entity. You can draw that circle or you can recite something that keeps them trapped into you doing which it's like putting it on a leash. You know what I'm saying? What's the shape of a leash over what I'm saying, a dog's neck? A circle. Some of them leashes where it's over the whole like front body, and it's a better way of controlling the dog. But for the most part, or traditionally, it's a loop around the neck with a chain. That's how you're controlling the spirit, and figuratively, just by being able to say the certain cadences and being able to repeat those things. That's why when it comes to like ceremonies or seances, there's chants. So I don't know if what I'm saying, for those of you that are familiar with Satanism. I don't know if you ever seen anything like that, but it doesn't even have to be Satanism. It could be any type of like spiritual ceremony where you're reciting, this chant over and over again, but in a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? That's how you can sway the spirit to do what you want it to do. But you got to have some power behind that. Some of y'all don't have that power. You know who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know who he is. And again, that makes you the true master, that true MC, not just on a rap thing or hip hop, in an actual magical, activity. Like you're the MC, you're moving the spirits. So actually, you become an MS, master of spirits. You know what I'm saying? Not just a master of ceremony, a MS, a master of spirits. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of these politicians are, what I'm saying, they come out with songs or they get these artists to make songs for them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you put a song behind what you're doing, that's a way to move those people into the direction you want to move them. You know what I mean? Like for example, and some songs can just get co-opted for a movement. Like for example, with the Black Lives Matter movement, that one of the songs that became prominent for that movement was the Kendrick Lamar song, "We Gonna Be All Right." You know what I'm saying? We gonna be all. It became like that anthem for Black Lives Matter. So now you can use that song to move people. You know what I'm saying? Probably wasn't intended for that BLM, but it could have been. Who knows? How would you know? A movie you can watch, Wag the Dog, with Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman, where De Niro, he's a spin doctor in the movie where he's hired to, create these false stories in the media to distract people from some scandal that the president got himself caught up in. And the movie came out right before the whole Bill Clinton thing with the Monica Lewinsky, where he nutted all over her dress or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell it's predictive programming going on, but in the movie itself, they create this fake song and make it seem like the song is 100 years old. So they be out here doing shit like that. Like they make the song, they got all these different artists, song people, you know what I'm saying, singers from, black singers, white singers. They got all these famous singers that be on this song, you know what I'm saying? And they try to make it seem like the song or the basis of the song is from like a century ago. And it was to get people to rally behind and be, rally behind America and be patriotic again. So they put a song behind it. You know what I mean? They put notes behind it. Ooh, they put that behind it. So once you got a song to it, you got a soundtrack, you set. You know what I'm saying? Or like it could be simple. It could be something simple and stupid. Like, for example, what's that song? Do you gotta eat the booty like groceries? Now everybody eating booty. You put a rhythm to it now. So it's cool, it's hip. You know what I'm saying? Gotta eat the booty like groceries. Now it's fun. It was never fun to me because I never done it. But for those of you that was a little curious about it, or it just wasn't your cup of tea until You gotta eat the booty like grocery. Now it's a song, you can dance to it. So you dancing up to the anus, and it's like, yeah, I'm about to get my booty eaten on. You know what I'm saying? Just because there's a song involved, there's a movement that's spiritual. So if you can create a song to get people to do something, that's you being an MC. That's the way to control niggas, because you put a beat to it. You put some horns and some, you know what I'm saying, some bass to it, some string. You put that there. A catchy hook. I'm pretty sure I'm so sure somebody made a fucking remix to that where eat the booty like groceries is the chorus, it's the hook of the song, and then you got rappers rapping on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm 100%, man. 100%. Look it up on YouTube. Somebody had to remix that song. That's how you make booty eating cool. But what else can you make hot? Molly Percocets, being a hoe, shooting up people that look like you. What else you can do with a hook and a good beat? You can sell endorsed products like sipping on gin and juice. You know what I'm saying? That was an advertisement for gin and juice. That's actually my favorite Snoop Dogg song, but it never got me to go buy gin and juice. I never had gin and juice before, but it's, you know, like I say, I like the beat. Rolling down the street, smoking endo, sipping on gin and juice, biatch. That's my song. But it never swayed me to go actually buy gin and juice. But I'm pretty sure, like back in those early '90s, it made a lot of y'all moms and dads go buy some gin and juice. You know what I'm saying? And then like somebody like Jay-Z, where it's like, you know, I heard like he actually, you know, sells himself as far as like, you know, if you pay him, he'll make a song about your product. So I remember on that one album, what's it called? Magna Carta Holy Grail, where he had a song on there called what's it called? Tom Ford. Like, no, I never heard of Tom Ford, but Jay-Z heard of it. And now you rocking it because he said it. So imagine the lucrative business you can do by getting a popular rapper to rap about your product. Now it's selling. You know what I'm saying? So if I can get Jay-Z to rap about my book Wholography, you know what I'm saying? If he made a song and put on his album, I bet you I'll sell out in like 2 days. The book could be out of print in like 2 days. You gotta wait like, I don't know, like a few days for it to be printed more. All it takes is Jay-Z to make a song about my book, and I'll sell more than the motherfucking Bible and the Harry Potter series. Just like that. You know what I'm saying? Just put a beat on it. Put a beat on it. Put a song on it. That's all you gotta do. But again, I'm gonna repeat myself. This is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? This is a millennium old, for millennia. A magician have been doing this. It's nothing new, because this is how you're moving the spirit. Why you think you're using certain instruments? Like, for example, like if you want to, like you a Native American, you know that you use that rain stick where it sounds like it's raining. Like you flip. I remember we had some people from a certain tribe from around where I lived at, and they came to our school. You know how you go to the auditorium and they give you a presentation, and the Native American people, like, they had that rain stick. I forgot I think it's called a rain stick, where it's like an instrument where these beads or something that's in the stick, and you turn it upside down and it sounds like rain. That's how you make it rain. That's the spirits that would cause rain. You use that instrument to to change the weather. You know what I'm saying? That's the science of that. How old do you think that is? I mean, it kind of deviates from, you know, we talking about liquid sword, but you know what I'm saying, just talking about music in general, that's how you would do that. Using certain instruments. Your mouth is a instrument, it's a sword. So whether you're using that instrument to chop something down or cut or slice or defend, you know, someone with the actual metal sword, and then like I said, it's a metaphor for the actual tongue, or the tongue is the metal. You know what I'm saying? There's a correlation. Use your tongue the same way. So for example, there's women who pride themselves in being able to cut down their man based on what what they're telling them. So get into an argument with the John, I bet you she'll say something to cut you down. You know what I'm saying? That's why you peed in the bed on Thursday, or something like that. You know what I mean? That's why you only be lasting 31 seconds in the bed. Like saying something that really cuts into a man's ego, like really chopping it in half. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just with her tongue. She don't gotta touch you. She ain't gotta actually pull out a knife on you. She can just say this stuff and it'll kill you. It'll kill your ego. You know what I'm saying? Haha, that's why I saw dookie stains in your boxers when I put them in the washing machine this morning, you little dirty boy booty bitch. Like she can say stuff like that, and it would kill you, and your heart would sink into your intestines just on what she was saying. It's people right now who are traumatized, not by them getting physically abused. That's traumatizing, but they were more traumatized by what was said to them. Like if your mom was on that, you know what I'm saying? Oh, you ain't shit. You gonna be just like your broke ass, stinking ass dad. She can say that to you. That could kill you on the inside. So then 20, 30 years later, you're hearing those same words, but it's in your voice. Sometimes it's in her voice. Sometimes it's in your voice. Sometimes it's in the voice of the women that you date. Because like I say, you grew up to marry your own mother, right? So this woman is saying the same detrimental shit to you that your mom was saying. Just by what the fuck she was, just words. Your mom is an MC for that. She's a master of the liquid sword. She can cut niggas down by saying stuff. You can kill someone's self-esteem with words. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you grew up a little heavyweight, you know what I'm saying? You was chubby, you was fat. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no shame in that. Because I don't want to be the one where they target me for fat shame or whatever. You know what I mean? But what if, like I said, you was a fat kid that loved cake, and then you had all these different people calling you, insulting you, fatty. You know what I'm saying? Miss Piggy. You know what I'm saying? Jello waste. I don't know if that was an insult. I'm just making shit up. But that could kill a person's self-esteem. These are words. It's like you're stabbing the person with a knife every time you say stuff like that. It's traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? You can have options after that. Are you going to, try to lose weight? What I love is people who embrace their weight though. That's what I love. Where it's like, yeah, I'm a big person. Yeah. You want to fight? I'll pancake you all over this. You know what I'm saying? I'll bear hug you all over the street. Don't play with me. I don't want you to be unhealthy or anything, but I'm just saying, like, it could be any type of insecurity. You know what I mean? Like with me, I've been wearing glasses since I was like 14. People call you four eyes or you know what I'm saying? You're a little nerd just because you wear glasses. You know what I mean? You can embrace that, or you can, like I said, you can defend yourself, or you can let it hurt you. You know what I mean? Because iron sharpen iron. So you look at that sword as iron and it's sharpening. It don't affect you no more. You like the toad from what's the movie name? Five Deadly Venoms. The toad, number 5. He went through a special training where you can't pierce his skin. You can't cut his skin with swords or nothing. You can't stab him. His skin has been conditioned where he can, resist any type of attack like that. So put that in like an actual realistic context. If someone was sitting here insulting you or trying to bang on your insecurity, and then you learn over the years to, what I'm saying, embrace it and let it be your strength. You know what I mean? They called you the fat kid that loved cake. 20 years later, you doing chefing for the celebrities. It's all how you flip it. But it's the science of the sword, how you say something, how you speak. So going back to what I was saying about poetry, if you get into poetry, you'll learn how to start rhythmatizing your words and being able to put a cadence to what you're saying. You ain't got to be no rapper level poet or nothing like a Tupac or nothing, but being able to just put rhythm to your words. Like singing, like sing speaking, you know what I'm saying? Sing talking, like I can sing, talk you to do what I want you to do, like something like that. Notice how, like, also when you're in school, they also put rhythms behind things to help you learn stuff like the ABCs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you black, you put some soul into it. H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. You know what I mean? And that's how you learned the rhythm, and that's how you learned the actual alphabet. Because you know that ABC rhythm. They also do, like, for example, I'll be sitting here learning the Hebrew shit, and they have their own songs to help you learn the Hebrew alphabet. And you know what I'm saying? Aleph, Beit, Gimel, you know what I'm saying? That type of Dalit, you know what I'm saying? And going forward like that, because it helps you learn. If you get the rhythm down pat, then everything else will follow through. You know what I'm saying? Some people need to learn that science. It's the science of the liquid sword. So when you spiritize, you know what I'm saying, you spiritize your blade, now you can say things and make shit happen. Or you know what I'm saying, it seems like you're making things happen just based on how you're saying it. So like I said, the next time you want to do a ritual or a ceremony, start putting some rhythm behind what you're talking about. Put a beat on, put a song to it. Sometimes when I meditate, there are songs when I meditate. I don't just sit there and meditate and no, I put a song on too. Yeah. You don't do that? You just go by what the Hindu gurus be talking about. Like you don't go beyond what they be saying. You think they're the authority of spirituality out here, the Hindu dudes, like the gurus like Osho and you know what I'm saying, Yogananda and all that. Those your dudes. That's who you follow behind. Because also what I said earlier about, going to like a ceremony, like, dealing with the E5 voodoo thing, like, if you ever seen that, I mean, I'm pretty sure they recorded it somewhere and put it on YouTube, but if you ever seen anything like that, there's a lot of chanting and yelling and screaming and, rhythmic words and drums is another thing. Putting the drum in there, you know what I'm saying? That's a way to get people to do things too, because it's the drum is nothing but the heart taken out of the body and dealt with the hands. Your heart is a drum. You know what I'm saying? So once you get a certain rhythm going, it's going to attract certain spirits to that rhythm. If I change the rhythm, now another set of spirits come through. If I change it another time, another way, those type of spirits come through. You know what I'm saying? It's like a party. Like if you had a party of country music, would you want to go in there with Garth Brooks and them? And what's the John name? I forgot. I don't even know that realm. But like for example, if you was in the hood and then that like the house on the block and all they was just playing was like country music, would you want to go in there? Probably not, because that might not be a forte. But if they start putting on some, I don't know what you into, Wu Tang, if they put on some Migos, you know, I'm dealing with different rap tastes, like some early 2000s Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. If you don't give it, nah, that's the I forgot. Hold on, what song they put out? To the window, to the wall. You know what I'm saying? Sweat drop down my ball. You'd want to go in there because something about you is attracted to the window, to the wall, sweat drop down my balls. You know what I'm saying? Now, what if they start putting on some house music and you know what I'm saying? It sound a little, you know what I'm saying, on the other side of the fence. You'd be like, nah, no, thank you. You know what I mean? Because I don't want nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm there's some things probably in that party floating around that, a heterosexual male it wouldn't click with me. So I wouldn't go in there. But if it's in your spirit to go see what that's all about, you'd be in there jamming, doing your house music, you know what I'm saying? Your chest all out, you know what I mean? Chest all out music. Who make chest all out music? Name an artist that make chest all out music. You know what I mean? It's the same way with this spiritual thing. If you put on that certain rhythm, those spirits are going to come through. You know what I'm saying? You want to have love with somebody, you put on some soul music, you put on some 70s, you know what I'm saying? Some golden oldies. Those spirits come through. You know what I'm saying? Music is spiritual. That's what Fela Kuti was saying in his documentary. He was also saying something along the lines of, if you abuse it too, like you're abusing the music or whatever, like you're using the music in the wrong way, and those spirits can get upset with you and backfire. It could backfire on you. You know what I mean? So you gotta be serious when you start dealing with that level of music, because any music you make or listen to, I mean, it's spiritual regardless. But when you start making music where it's intentionally made to actually bring and invite or invoke those entities, you know what I'm saying? Don't be playing around with that because it could go haywire. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with forces you don't understand. You know what I'm saying? When you do shit like that. Now, what was I saying earlier? I was also, like I said, with language, like how you speak French. I don't know how to speak it. Vous avez mamadi, merci beaucoup. You know what I'm saying? There's a rhythm to it. It doesn't necessarily have them having to lean into it, like make it all like really romanticized or whatever. But there's a rhythm to how they're speaking, just like there's a rhythm to how I'm saying things right now. And based on the rhythm of my vocabulary and the shit that I'm saying, it evokes something in you. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you want to listen a little bit more or you want to leave and be like, oh, he don't know what the fuck he talking about. It could just be the spirit of what I'm saying, not necessarily what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because the spirit of what I'm saying can remind you of something that can be traumatizing. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're a white woman and you know what I'm saying, you got beat up by some black people. Like, as soon as you hear some slang, you're gonna get traumatized because it reminds you of when you got fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how you associate, like for example, if I put a song on right now from like years ago, it can bring you back to a time in your life where that song was kind of like the soundtrack to your life at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like if we put on Wu Tang Cream, Cash rules everything around me. Cream, you know what I'm saying? It's going to bring back a time, if he was alive during that time, it's going to bring back all where you was, who you was with, the time, like what was happening around that time. It's like a nostalgia hit, you know what I'm saying? That's why they also take advantage of that today, like with movies and TV shows and music, they like dealing with nostalgia. Like I'll keep hearing these songs where they keep trying to remix, you know, songs from back in the 90s and 80s or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's disastrous. Just leave the fucking song alone. Like you're fucking up a classic. Stop. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm talking about. Like your ability to sway people based on what you're saying, and then you want to put instruments behind it. You want to put a drum to it. You want to put a dance to it. It's even more powerful if there's a dance to it. You know what I'm saying? Cash rules everything around me. Cream. You know what I mean? You got your Tims on. You know what I mean? Cash rules everything around. Cream the money. You know what I mean? That's going to evoke something in you. You know what I'm saying? Remember, if you was alive, and saying you was able to think clearly back in like the late 90s, early 2000s when Destiny's Child was coming out with all them songs talking about I hate men, I don't need men, independent, truly, you know what I'm saying, songs like that. Can you pay my bills? Can you pay my electric? You know what I mean? Like just the way in which they said that, they was able to get a whole generation of women to be like, I don't need a man. Just based on like 3 or 4 songs. Now tell me that wasn't planned from the jump. See, the music and the words can be used as a weapon too. Like I told you, they can use that to divide you. You know what I mean? Talking about some independent. You know how depressed independent woman is? Keep it real. How depressed and you know what I'm saying Lonely they be in the house. Come on, really? And y'all fell for it. Don't fall for stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, even in the early 90s, I keep using the 90s because I like the 90s so much. But going back to the even earlier time in the 90s where all that gangster rap kept coming out, where it was kind of like making jail a cool place to go. It was never cool for me. Like making jail, like making music where jail is, you know what I'm saying, the hot spot, you know what I'm saying? Come, you know what I mean? Ain't nothing but a gangster party. Like, why? Whose plan it was to make prison a cool place to be? Like you put a beat to it, you put some hook to it. Niggas want to go to jail now. Now, before I get up out of here, and then being able to deal with different languages, like for example, like English is, like I said, sometimes it could be effective or ineffective whenever you try and do something spiritual, but doing things in a different language. So, for example, y'all like to deal with a lot of Western occultism. So, why don't you start dealing with the German language? There's a lot of grimoires where a lot of those magicians were German. Guten Tag. So I bet if you went into that, ceremony or ritual speaking German, I bet you going probably get a different result than if you was speaking, modern day American English. You know what I'm saying? Like for those of you that like Paulo Mayombe and all these different Afro Caribbean, um, that's what they call it, Afro Caribbean spiritual systems. Like you start speaking in Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Ven aquí, mira, ven aquí, escúchela. You know what I'm saying? Mamacita, you probably get a different result because these spirits are probably only respond to, Espanol. You know what I'm saying? Espanol. You know what I mean? Or for those of you that are into the, the African traditional religions, the ATRs, a lot of y'all, even me, like there's words that we use that aren't English. They're, African or Ghanaian, Nigerian, Congo, Bantu. You know what I'm saying? Ugandan, Egyptian. Y'all like using Egyptian, right? Ancient Kemet. Tamari, which is I guess that's the word for Egypt, Tamari. Instead of saying Kemet or Egypt, you say Tamari or Hotep, and what else? Ankh. You know what I'm saying? Like these Egyptian terms, I bet you if you start using them more in any practice where you're dealing with those entities, you'll probably get a different result. It's all basically with your tongue, your liquid sword. You know what I mean? When the MCs came to bring out the name and to perform, some had to smoke, snort cocaine just to act insane. That's that Jizza song, Liquid Swords. I guess that's why a lot of people like debating too, because they get to use words to cut other people down or cut their ideology that they believe in down or whatever. They like that fighting that argument, you know what I'm saying? Because they get to use words in a weaponized way. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't no you the person doesn't even have to be correct in what they're saying. It's just the fact that they want to argue. Like you ever dealt with people that want to argue? That's all they want to do is just like bicker, little bicker bot ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? Just want to sit here and argue. They like they're attracted to the arena of using words as weapons. They love that. Don't have to be correct in what they're trying to argue. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were sitting here arguing, are we African or are we, Moorish or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Are we RBG or are we Moorish? And you had two people sitting here debating. Neither of these niggas have to be correct. It's the fact that they like to use their words to cut down the other person or whatever, using words to cut down whatever they believe in. Or if you had like a Muslim and a Christian arguing about, the validity of Christ or whatever, or Jesus or whatever, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Neither person has to be correct. It's the fact that they use the words that cut down the other person. They just like to argue. You know what I mean? I bet you as women right now, men and women right now, they will never be in a peaceful relationship because they're not used to no peaceful relationship. They grew up in a house where mom was arguing, dad was arguing, or a stepdad, stepmom. It was always a fucking banter match. It was always fuck you, bitch. They not used to peace. So you try to come with the peace, and she get bored because that's not what she grew. She didn't grow up in a house like that. She want to argue. You know what I'm saying? As you know, toxic, they use in the modern word as toxic or destructive or detrimental as it is, that's what the John is used to. You know what I'm saying? So you trying with peace, sister, you know what I'm saying? Nothing but peace, sister. Let's just keep a calm spirit. She ain't into that. Even if she act like she is, she not used to that. She's used to a house of rambunctious cussing. So start rambunctiously cussing at her. I bet you she'll stay with you longer than trying to be all peaceful and hotepi. I bet you. But that's my time, man. I just want to speak about the science of the liquid sword. Like I said, learning how to say things, not just what you're saying, how you're saying it. Because if you ever seen any of these kung fu movies where they're using weapons, you know what I'm saying, and they use all these type of dancing and acrobat techniques with the sword, flip it up in the air, you know what I'm saying? They doing that with the sword. It's like that's the way you could be doing that with your liquid sword, your tongue. Learning how to do that with your own tongue, like learning how to speak things in a certain way to, you know what I'm saying, get what you're trying to get or attract what you're trying to attract. You know what I mean? But that's my time. So again, holography. You know what I'm saying? Whole writing, art sciences, one educational discipline for you. Achad, holographer. You see the website tracking down at the bottom there. You know what I'm saying? Also, want to show special thanks again to my patrons. You see them down here on the screen. So do not fail to get into my Patreon, man. I got this, I got the goods. I got the snap. I got it over there. I can't put it on YouTube based on the nature of it. So it's just like, if you went to a video store back in like, I don't know, 1998, and I don't know if Blockbuster had it, but I know the video store where I used to live at, they had the section in the back. You know what I'm saying? Kids can't go back there. So imagine all the goodies and stuff in the back of the store. You know what I mean? You don't want to go, you ain't never want to sneak back there and see what's back there. You see, the grown folks go back there, you know what I'm saying? But you couldn't go back there because you was underage. So that's what this my Patreon is. It's like there's stuff on the shelf when you come in the store, but then there's the shit in the back. It's the stuff like all the way in the back. You know what I mean? That's the special stuff. You in the back, you better come in the back with me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I may not have the liberties of showing it to you, publicly. But if you come in the back with me, oh, some stuff back there. So, like I said, go to my Patreon. Well, let me show that. Patreon.com/holography. Just a few, some change per month. You know what I'm saying? You get all the rare stuff that I'm not at liberty to kind of put on here on this YouTube channel. So, again, Al Akkad, keep your liquid sword sharp, and I'll see you next time.